Hey, welcome to the Assessing Learning Brightspace training. As always, our webinars are 1 hour long and you will find yourself on mute until the end of the webinar. However, if you do have questions throughout the webinar, you can feel free to put them in the chat and Laura will address them. This webinar is being recorded and the recording is going to be sent out in a follow-up email later today. This webinar is part of our basic Brightspace training series. The series loops in on itself, so if you missed any of our previous webinars, you can sign up for the future ones. We have our scheduled posters through December. To quickly run through what the series consists of, getting started with Brightspace is a high-level overview of the platform, overview of the navigation, the interface, and some basic functionalities. ABCs of content is all about the building blocks of your classes, topics, modules, files, multimedia, organizing, and moving stuff around. Then engaging learners is all about how to engage students with each other, with the content, and with you, the faculty, using tools like groups, intelligent agents, discussion boards, announcements, and more. Then we have 2 deep dives into specific functionalities within Brightspace. We have quizzes and Gradebook. Each of those functionalities is quite detailed. There are a lot of settings, which is why we dedicated a full 1 hour webinar to each of them. There is also additional training available. You can join Brightspace community with your CUNY login. You can also take the Brightspace resource course that's available within our CUNY environment. Going through the Brightspace resource course will allow you to see the student view of courses, as well as learn a little bit about different Brightspace functionalities. There are also videos available on YouTube. The LMS transition team from OAA has their own channel with full recordings of previous webinars, as well as some helpful shorter videos on assignments, discussion boards, and quizzes. The parent company of Brightspace, D2L, also has their own YouTube channel with short clips on various functions within Brightspace. Finally, we have CUNY IT Help, which is a CUNY-wide technology-related platform with articles, tutorials, step-by-step instructions on all things CUNY IT. But today we're focusing on assessing learning. So today we are going to talk about creating and editing assignments and going through all the different assignment settings. We're also going to look at how we can grade assignments. There are 3 different ways to grade assignments. We're going to go look at each of those using the QuickEval widget, the assignments tool, and the gradebook. We're going to take a look at how we can use QuickEval to grade discussion boards as well. And finally, we're going to look at the Manage Grades tool to see how we can create extra credit assignments. To access Brightspace, just have to go to brightspace.cuny.edu and log in with your CUNY login credentials. These are the same credentials that you use to access Blackboard, CUNY First, Microsoft 365, and other single sign-on platforms. Your CUNY login username is your first name, that last name, the last 2 digits of your MPL ID at login.cuny.edu. And with that, I'm going to switch over to our Brightspace environment, where we're going to dive into assignments. Before we do that, as always, a quick disclaimer that what I see on my screen may not necessarily be exactly what you see on your screen. Both in the home page as well as in the course pages, what your theme and your navigation bar look like depends on which campus you're affiliated with. Each campus has a slightly different configuration of what is located on the navigation bar, where the various widgets are located. My view is the central office view as well as the admin view. So what I'm seeing is going to be different than what you're seeing. But don't worry, you're not actually missing anything. Things are just going to be in slightly different order. I'm going to go ahead and navigate to the sample course that we use for our webinars. And once again, I'm going to point out that what I see on my navigation bar is going to be slightly different than what you see. I recommend that you locate the course admin area as soon as possible, because by going to the course admin area, you have access to every single tool within your course. Your course admin link may be somewhere on the navigation bar, or you may need to go into one of the drop-down menus to locate it. So today we're going to start off by talking about assignments. You can access the assignments tool page by either finding a link on your navigation bar or going to course admin and clicking on assignments. Regardless of which way you arrive there, it's going to take you to the same page, the assignments page. And we have two different scenarios of what you might be faced with. You might be working with a course that has been migrated for you from Blackboard that maybe you copied over into a practice site or a live course shell. So you're working with assignments that are already existing, and you might just need to make a few edits to them. The other scenario is that you're building up your course from scratch, in which case this area is going to be completely blank, and you would need to create new assignments. We're going to do both. I'm going to start off by creating a new assignment, and then we're going to look at how we can edit assignments. To create a new assignment, I'm going to click the New Assignment button, and it's going to take me to a page that looks a lot like the page for creating new discussion boards or new quizzes. So we have our title, grade, description on the left-hand side, and then all of our different settings are going to be on the right-hand side. As you can see by the asterisk next to assignment title, this is mandatory. You have to name your assignment. The assignment title is what students are going to see when they click on the assignments area and they view the assignment list. Also, if you use the Insert Quick Link feature in order to refer to the assignment within a module description, or to add to an announcement, or possibly to add the assignment to a module as a topic, the assignment title is going to be what the students can see. So I am going to say maybe my assignment is going to be extra credit for October. Forgot which year it was for a second. And you can add instructions here as well. As with all the other places within Brightspace where you can put text, the text box has all of your different formatting functions. So you can have headings, bold, italicize, underline, change your colors, have different alignment, bullet list. You can also use the Insert Stuff button to load files from your computer. You can add a video note. So if you want to add instructions for the assignment by talking through them rather than typing them up, you can do that. You can also embed a YouTube video. Or using the Insert Quick Link button, you can refer to existing activities within your course. So let's say I want to refer to a specific content item. So I'm going to click on Insert Quick Link, navigate to Content, select the module my content is in, and select the content itself. We also have the ability to add this assignment to the gradebook. So by default, whenever you create an assignment, it's going to say ungraded. If you want the assignment to be added to the gradebook as its own grade item, meaning it's going to have its own column in the gradebook, all you have to do is click on where it says ungraded, and it's going to automatically add it to the gradebook. All you have to do is assign the number of points the assignment is going to be worth. You can add a due date using the calendar function. So let's say October 4th, and once I select a due date, I can select a due time as well. Moving over to the right-hand side where I have my settings, let's start with availability dates and conditions. Here I have my start date and end date. So if I am creating all of my assignments ahead of time, but I don't actually want them to become available to the students until a certain point in time, maybe every Monday an assignment becomes available. This is where my start dates come in handy. So let's say this is extra credit October 2024. So actually, let's change the due date to the last date of October. And right now it's September, and I don't want students to have access to this assignment until October. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the start date of October 1st. Now you can see as soon as I chose that, I have the option here of what is going to happen before the start date. I have several options. The first is the assignment is going to be visible, but the access is going to be restricted. Meaning the students will see that there is an assignment called Extra Credit October 2024 that will become available on October 1st, but they have no other access to the details, the description, anything like that. Visible with submission restricted means the students can click into the assignment. They'll be able to view whatever instructions we put in, but they can't submit anything. And then the final option is to have the assignment hidden, meaning that if the students go into the assignments list, they're going to not be able to see this assignment at all until October 1st, at which point it will pop up on the list. So you can choose whichever one of these makes the most sense to you. Then we come to the end date. So we have the due date here. The due date does not necessarily get rid of the assignment once the due date passes. The students will still be able to submit items to the assignment past the due date. It will just be marked as overdue. Now, if you don't want the students to have the ability to submit past the due date, you can make use of the end date feature. And once again, we have the ability to specify what happens after the end date passes. Do I want the students to see that the assignment existed, but not be able to click into it? Or maybe they can see it, but they can no longer submit into it, or I can have it just go away completely. The next option we have is release conditions. This was known as adaptive release in Blackboard. And you need to use this only if you have a specific condition you want a student to meet before they have access to this assignment. For example, if you don't want the extra credit assignment to become available unless the student completes the regular assignment, or unless the student gets a specific score on a quiz, you would use the release condition. To add a release condition, just click on the drop-down, click Create New. And under the condition type dropdown, you can see all of the different triggers you can set. So submitting a specific assignment, maybe completing a checklist, visiting all the content topics in a specific module, however you want to set it up. If you set a release condition, that means the student will not be able to see this assignment until the condition is met. If this is just a regular assignment that you want all students to have access to, you do not need to set a release condition. Finally, we have the special access area. This is where we come to in order to manage special accommodations. And I'm going to come back to this area once I've gone through the rest of the settings. It'll make more sense that way. So next, let's go to submission and completion. The first option is this an individual assignment or a group assignment? Individual assignment means that every student enrolled in the course will submit their own assignment and receive their own grade. Group assignment means that a group of students will submit one assignment for all of them, and they will share the grade. In order to use the group assignment feature, you have to have created the groups ahead of time using the Groups tool. And we go over that in our Engaging Learners webinar. So once you create the group category, you're able to assign assignments to those groups. Next up, we have categories. You don't have to use the category area. So this is the assignment we're working on right now. And you can see these are the categories. So if I have a lot of different assignments and I would like to be able to organize them, have a category for weekly assignments, and then maybe I have a category for reflections, a category for extra credit, that is when I would make use of the category area. If I don't have that many assignments and I don't have to worry about organizing them, you can leave this blank. You do not have to use categories. When you're first getting started in a course, you're not going to have any categories created. So when you click on this drop down, you're not going to have anything on this list except for new category. So if you want to, you can create a new category right on the spot here. And it will create the category and automatically assign this assignment to that category. Next up, we have submission type. When the students are submitting their assignment, what exactly are they submitting? We have some options here. File submission means that the student is going to submit a file. They're going to upload a file. It could be a PDF file, a Word file, it could be an image or a music file. And if you need to have some restrictions on what kind of files you would like submitted, you can do that in the allowable file extensions dropdown. If we're submitting files, you have the option to allow an unlimited number of files or one file. If you select one file, that means the student can submit once and they're no longer able to submit anything else. Unlimited means the student can submit multiple files and you will have access to all of them. Next, we have text submission. If the assignment is a text submission, when the student clicks into the assignment, they will be faced with a text box, very similar to this one, where they can just type up their answer. They will have access to some basic formatting, but they will not be able to upload any files. It'll be just text. If you select that, our options here are to keep all of the submissions, to only allow one submission, or to allow the student to submit multiple times, but only the most recent submission is kept and shown to the faculty. The last two options here are for items that happen outside of Brightspace. So if you have maybe a presentation that happens in class, or a paper that students are submitting to you on paper by hand in class, but you would still like to be able to have them in the gradebook within Brightspace, you can create this assignment, select on paper, and then once the assignment is complete, you have it in your hand and you've graded them, you'll be able to come in and manually put the grades into the gradebook. For now, let's go with text submission and move on. Under the evaluation and feedback settings area, we have the ability to add a rubric. Here you can create a new rubric or you can add an existing one. The existing rubrics are the ones that you have already created or that you have copied from a different course. So if you do have some existing rubrics, it'll come up with a pop-up where you can see the list of all your different rubrics, and you can actually even use the preview icon to take a look at it without having to exit your assignments area. So you're able to see what each rubric is. Once you decide what rubric you want, you can select it and scroll down and click the Add Selected button. And now that rubric is going to be attached to the assignment. I want to take a second to show you where the rubrics tool is located. So you can create a new rubric right from the assignment area, but if you want to manage your rubrics, there is a rubrics tool that you can access through the course admin area. Under rubrics. And here you can see all of the different rubrics you have as part of your course, the type of rubric it is, the scoring method, whether it's in draft mode or published, and you can also create new rubrics from here as well. So you can select what type of rubric it is, the scoring, and then you can just copy and paste your different criterions in here. If you have only 3 levels, you can delete one of the levels. If you have more, you can keep clicking plus. You can also provide initial feedback under each of the criterion levels. Going further down, do we want to make the annotation tools available for assessment? This is selected by default. And that just means when you are grading the assignment, you will be able to draw on it or add little post-it notes and comments right within the file that your students have submitted. You can also have the option for anonymous marking. If I select hide student names during assessment, when the assignments come in, I can click into them, and all I'll see is that they were submitted by anonymous student 1, anonymous student 2, and so on. I will not be able to see which student is affiliated with each assignment until after I have graded and published the feedback. So I do have that option. So let's go back up to where we had our special access. We're going to come back to that now. As I said, manage special access is a place where we can set up special accommodations for the students that need it. So the first option here allows users with special access to submit outside the normal availability dates for this folder is our special accommodations option. The second option, allow only users with special access to see this folder, is for situations where you have specific users that need access to this assignment, you know who they are, and no one else will need to see it. So this could be like a makeup assignment that you create for a person or people who may have missed some. You can select that only those users will see it, and the other students will never know that that assignment existed. We're going to stick with the first option for our special accommodations, and we're going to click Add Users to Special Access. And then here we have a pop-up window where we can set up those special accommodations. So we can set a different due date. Everyone else had the due date of October 31st. Maybe I want to give my special access students an extra week. I can make it available to them earlier. So instead of the October 1st start date, I can make it available right now. And I can have a later end date as well. Once I have selected my new due date, start date, and end date, I can scroll down to my class list. These are all of the different students that I have in my class, and I can just select whichever ones are going to need that special access and click Save. And now on my special access window, I can see the names of the students who have the access, what their access is. I have the ability to edit it using the edit icon, or I can remove that special access by clicking the X icon. Once I'm done, I can click Save and Close. The final thing I need to do is to toggle this assignment from hidden to visible. Now keep in mind that if you do have a start date set up, even though this is set to visible, the students are not going to see it until the start date. Then I'm going to click Save and Close. And that is going to bring me back to my assignments tool page. So now what I want to do is take a look at the page itself and see what we can see here. So obviously we have the titles of the assignments. If there is a due date, we can see the due date right underneath the assignment. If there is a start date, that'll be underneath as well. There are some different types of icons next to the assignment titles. The ribbon means it's in the gradebook, and the little question mark means that it's an anonymous assignment. You can hover over these in order to see what each of these means. Going across the table, the next column we have is new submissions. And these are submissions from students that have not yet been seen by me, the faculty. As you can see, these are links, so I can actually just click on them in order to go into those submissions and be able to grade them. And we'll do that in just a moment. I just want to finish going through this page. The next column is completed. The last number here is the full number of students I have in my class, which is 6. And the first number is the number of students that have completed this assignment. So I can see that 5 out of 6 students completed week 2 assignment. Only 2 out of 6 students completed the week 8 assignment. Continuing to go across, I can see how many of those have been evaluated. That means that I went in, or anyone else who is available to evaluate assignments in my course, maybe a teaching assistant, or if I have a second professor that's working with me. If someone had gone in and put feedback in, we would see that number here. And then finally, feedback published. The difference between these two is that evaluated just means that someone has gone in and graded the assignment. When you go in and grade an assignment, you don't necessarily have to publish it outright. You can save it to publish later. So for example, if you're looking to grade all of the assignments and then publish them at the same time so that all the students receive their grades at the same time, you can go through, provide evaluation, and then save for later. So if I am working with a migrated course, so I have all of these different assignments and they're all from a previous time I taught this course. Maybe there are some, I don't know, year or month numbers in here that are referring to a previous semester, or maybe I need to change some of the titles or anything like that. I have the ability to bulk edit this page, which won't allow me to edit all of the different settings within my assignments, but it will help me clean up this area a little bit. So I can either click the checkboxes next to the assignments I want to edit, or I can click the very topmost select all checkbox to select every single assignment on this page. And then I can click bulk edit. That is going to bring me to the bulk edit page where I can change the assignment titles. So if I need to change months or year or anything like that, I could do that here. I can assign categories in this area as well. I can change the start date, the end date, and the due date from this area also. So if I want to go through, make sure that everything is set up for the coming up semester, I can absolutely do that on the bulk edit page. Once I'm done, I'm going to click the Save button. It's going to bring me back to my assignments tool page. And now you can see it is reflecting the changes that I made. The next thing I want to do is to show you how we can grade assignments. As I mentioned in the beginning, there are 3 different ways you can access the grading area for assignments. And the first way is through the assignments page, the page we're on right now. So under the new submissions area, I can click on the link that says 5, meaning there are 5 new submissions. And once I click into that, it's going to bring me to the first submission. Here I can see the name of the student that submitted it. I can also see how many submissions I'm looking through in the top right corner. So here I can see that there are 5 submissions and I can navigate between them using the previous and next buttons. If there are multiple submissions, so remember, we had the option to allow students an unlimited number of submissions. If there are multiple submissions, I'll be able to see all of them under this drop-down. So this was a text submission, meaning it is just text. I can read through it. Then I come over to the right-hand side where all of the evaluation and feedback takes place. Now, this assignment had a rubric associated with it. So I can grade this assignment using the rubric. All I have to do is click on the rubric area to expand it. And then I can just scroll through it. So as I hover over each of these levels, I can see the description, so I don't even have to memorize my rubric. I just have to look at which one is relevant. And as I'm going through, I can navigate all of my different criteria. Now, there is room for me to make manual changes. So as you can see, if you look in this area, my levels are 1 out of 5, 3 out of 5, and 5 out of 5. If I think that the mechanics are almost at the top level, but maybe not quite 5, so maybe a 4, I can actually click into this area and manually put in a different number. And as you can see now, there is an asterisk next to it that specifies that this number was entered manually. I can also add feedback for each of the different criteria within my rubric. Once I am done with the rubric, as I'm scrolling down, I can see the final total score of the rubric, which will then translate into the final overall grade. I want to point out that you can make changes right here as well. So we were following the rubric. This is what it figured out for us, but there might be a reason for me to change this grade. Maybe this assignment was submitted late, so it's overdue, so I have to take some points off. I can do that right in this area. So even when using a rubric, remember that you have the final say over the student grade. Underneath the overall grade area is where I have overall feedback. This is a text box very similar to the other ones we see across Brightspace. We have all of our different options here. We can format our text, we can add a file, we can record a video. So if we want to provide video feedback, we have the option to do that right here. Whatever I put down in the feedback area, the students are going to see in their gradebook when they click on their grades. So they will be able to see the overall grade and then the overall feedback right next to each other. Now here we come to the bottom where we have two options, to publish and to save draft. If I click the publish button, the students are going to see their grade and their feedback the second I click publish. As I mentioned earlier, if you prefer to grade all the students first and then publish all at once, you can absolutely do that. You just have to make sure you click Save Draft. So the evaluation has been saved, but it hasn't been published. The student is not going to have access to it until you come in and publish. Once you're done with the student submission, we can go up to our top right corner, click Next, and navigate to the next submission. So you can see it's exactly the same process. We read our submission, we use our rubric. We also don't have to use our rubric. We can just put the overall grade in manually. It'll wonder why we're skipping the rubric, but you do have that option. You can click Publish. It'll just let you know about the unscored rubric. And I clicked the wrong item by accident. I can click Publish anyway. And now the student can see their grade. This specific student, demo student C, is able to see their grade in their grade area. I have two new options here at the bottom now. My options are to update or to retract. Now, if I realize that I didn't take something into account and I need to change this grade, maybe I remembered that the student had asked for an extension and therefore they should get a lesser grade, I can make that change and click Update. As soon as I click Update, the grade is going to update in the gradebook and the student will be able to see their new grade. If I want to remove the grade from the student view entirely, I can click Retract. Once retracted, the student can no longer have access to their grade until I go through the process of publishing once again. Once I'm done, I can keep going, etc. You get the idea. This is how we can access our submissions through the assignments tool page. Now that I'm back on the assignments tool page, you can see that under new submissions, instead of 5, it now says 3. And I have 2 evaluated, and none of them published. If I want to be able to access the submissions I've already graded through this area, I can. If I click on the little drop-down arrow next to the assignment title, I can go to View Submissions, and it is going to show me all of the different submissions that have been submitted. I can see by the name of the student and the date. Now, this is a good area to know about, because if you have an assignment where the student is only allowed 1 submission, and then the student reaches out to you and says, I accidentally submitted the wrong thing, what can I do? You can come into this area and click the delete icon, which will delete the student submission, and the student will be able to come back and submit something else. So this is just a good area to know about. Other things that we can do on this page. So if we click on that drop-down, you can see what else we can do. We can edit the assignment. We can delete the assignment. We can make a copy of the assignment in this course, or we can copy it to another course. I want to show you that if I click on Edit Assignment, it takes me to exactly the same page that we were on when we were creating the assignment. We have all of the same areas. We have all of the same settings. The only time when you have a limitation on what you can change is after the assignment has been posted and a student has submitted to it. You can see here, because this assignment has submissions from students already, some settings are going to be locked. If you make any changes to, for example, the number of points, those changes are only going to be for assignments submitted moving forward. They are not going to be retroactive. So just keep that in mind if you need to make changes to an existing assignment that already has submissions in it. Have to be cautious. Make sure that you change the grades manually for the students that have already been submitted and graded. Oops. Okay. All right. The second way we can grade assignments, and also the area where we can go to grade everything else, is the QuickEval area. So first, I want to show you the widget. If we click on our course name at the very top, that's always going to take us to the course homepage. And if I scroll down on my course homepage, I have a QuickEval widget here. Now, this is visible only to me. This is not visible to student. This is a faculty widget. So here I can see what has been submitted, what is there for me to grade. It's kind of similar to the needs grading area within Blackboard. So I can use this widget to click into something that needs grading, or I can go into the QuickEval tool page, where I have a slightly more detailed view than in the widget. So within this page, I can see the student, what they submitted, and the submission date. So if I wanted to sort it by the submission date, I can. I can see that something was submitted just 1 minute ago, who it was submitted by. Also, as we're looking through this list, you can see that there are different icons here. Actually, they're mostly assignments, but I can see that there is a discussion board here. And also, if there are any quizzes on the list, they will have a little question mark icon next to them. I can go in to grade simply by clicking on the student name next to the assignment. I will do that in a second. I do also want to show you other views of QuickEval. So this is viewing by submissions. We can also view by activities. So if we switch to that, instead of seeing a list of submissions, we're going to see a list of all of our different graded items. So on this page, there are all of the different items that have grades associated with them. You can see there's some discussions, there's some assignments, and I can see how many new posts or new submissions if it's an assignment. Here I can see how many have been completed, how many have been evaluated and published. And if I hover over it, I have the ability to evaluate all, which is just going to take me to, let's click on it and see. It's going to take me to the grading page where I can, in the top right corner, go through all of my submissions. Now, right here is an area for grading discussions. A lot of the time when you are assigning students something graded on a discussion board, what you want from them is to post their own thread and then maybe reply to other student threads. So when you click into the discussion assignment from the QuickEval area, it's going to show you anything that the student has posted and any replies. And then you're able to read them underneath one another. So this is the post that Johanna posted, and this is where she replied to Jane. If there are 10 replies, you'll be able to see all of them in a row. You'll be able to sort them, or you can filter by just the threads or just the replies. Once you're done reviewing, you can put in the grade and you can put in the feedback. As always, I have all of my different formatting options here. I can also record a video feedback if I want. Once I'm done, I'm going to click Publish, and I can move on to the next discussion. Now, the reason why I'm seeing the no accessible posts is because I clicked on Evaluate All in the QuickEval area. That means it's going to take me through the entire class list, whether or not they posted anything. And I have the ability to give them a 0 since they didn't post anything. And then I can move on to the next student. If instead of clicking Evaluate All, I simply click on the number of new posts, it is going to take me through all of the students that have submitted something. It will bypass the students that didn't submit anything. It will leave their grade area blank. So here we can see there was 1 thread and 2 replies. I can view all of those. I can enter the grade and publish. If I'd like, I can save draft instead. And when I go to QuickEval, under the More Actions area, this is where we have our Publish All. So if I wanted to go through, provide all of the evaluations and feedback, then I click on Save Draft. Once I'm done, I can come here, click Publish All, and it'll release all of the grades to all of the students that I evaluated. So as I mentioned, you can do this with discussion boards. You can do it with assignments. Same thing. You can click on Evaluate All, go through every single student, whether or not they submitted anything, or I can click on New Submissions. And my Publish All is under the More Actions area. Now, if I have a lot of grade items in here, I still want to use QuickEval, but it is quite a long page. I can actually filter by activity name. So if I click on this, I can either scroll through and select just the extra credit. I guess I don't have any extra credits submitted. So let's just, oh, no, there it is. It just took a second to come up. All right, so these are all of my different extra credits. So I filtered by that, and That's all I can see on my screen. When I'm done, to clear it, I just click on the drop down once more and click clear. I can also just start typing, and it'll bring up all of the different assignments, discussions, or quizzes with that word in the title. And then I can just select these. The final way for me to grade my assignments is through the Gradebook area. So if I click on the grades area, I can see my entire class list, and each column is its own grade item. It could be an assignment, it could be a quiz, it could be a grade item I created manually, it could be a discussion board. Whatever the case may be, if there is an icon next to the score and it has an orange dot next to it, that means I have not reviewed this assignment yet. So I can just click on this icon and it's going to take me to the submission. This one is a document submission. So instead of text, this is a Word document. So I can view it right in here. If I made annotation available, I can use the different annotation tools. So I can highlight text. I can add Post-it notes, whatever I want. The students will be able to see all of my annotations once I have published the feedback. They will be able to go through, hover, and see the comments that you left, as well as the grade and the feedback. Now I'm going to go back to the grades area. And I have quite a few grade items, but I just want to show you. I don't know where the assignments we've already graded are, but once the assignment has been graded, so let's grade this assignment. Oh, and by the way, this is where we see if something is overdue. It's going to tell you how many days it's overdue from the due date that you set for the assignment. So you can see this one is 157 days late. So now I see 20 out of 20. But keep in mind that at any point in time, I can click into the grade, even if it's already been graded, even if it's already been published, and change it, click update, or retract it. So even if the grade is published, it's in the gradebook, I can always make changes to it. Now, if I have an assignment that was on paper or in person, so I created the assignment, but my grades are going to be entered manually, I can click to switch to spreadsheet view, which actually allows me to grade the assignment just by typing in the grade. So if I have my grades in an Excel spreadsheet or just in a notepad in front of me, I can type all of them in and then click save. It's going to say saved successfully. Now I can switch to standard view. It's better to work in standard view just because you don't accidentally delete something or enter something, but now you can see that the grades have been entered. So that's how we manually enter grades for in-person or on-paper assignments. The final thing I want to show you is how to create extra credit assignments. So earlier we created an extra credit October 2024 assignment, but how does the system know that it's extra credit? Because right now it is 10 points out of 10 points, and it is part of the final calculated grade. So to make an assignment extra credit, I can go to the Manage Grades tab in my Gradebook area. And I'm going to find that assignment. So I'm just going to, there it is. Then I'm going to click the drop-down arrow, click Edit. And I scroll down to the grading area. So here is how many points the assignment is worth. And here I have two options. I have can exceed and bonus. By default, if I have an assignment that's out of 10 points, the most points I can give to a student is 10. If it is an assignment where I can expect students to get more than 10 points, maybe it's an assignment where I could go above and beyond, I can click can exceed. In this case, the assignment itself is not extra credit. These 10 points are part of the final calculated grade, but I can enter a grade higher than 10 points when I am grading the assignment. And then anything over those 10 points would be extra credit. If the entire assignment is extra credit, meaning the assignment is worth 10 points, but if a student does not complete it, it does not affect them in any way, all 10 of those points are fully extra credit, that would be bonus. Now keep in mind that if you ever forget what something is, whenever you see this little question mark next to something in Brightspace, you can click on it and it will give you an explanation. So in this case, it says bonus items are not included in the maximum points for a category or final grade. They're fully bonus. Once I do that, I can click Save and Close. And now there's a little star next to this assignment. And the star just means that it is an extra credit assignment or a bonus grade assignment. So that is all I wanted to cover for today. I want to check in with Laura to see if I missed anything that I should cover or if there are any questions.
There was just a question about rubrics, which was referencing the ability to have a point range for each level of achievement. And I'm not aware of that being a thing right now, but if you want to play around with that, you certainly can.
Right. So each level has to be worth a specific number of points. There's no way to have a range assigned to it. But as we demonstrated, when we are grading on a rubric and it's worth, 3 out of 3 points, you can manually click on that number and change it. So even though the level itself has a specific number of points associated with it, if there are large gaps between the different levels, you can manually change the numbers to reflect closer to what you think the level was worth. And if there are no questions, I just want to point out the Brightspace transition page on the CUNY website. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. The Brightspace transition page has a lot of great resources. We scroll down a little bit. We can jump to the training and resources area where we can find the different training available for faculty and staff through CUNY. This is our YouTube channel. There's some D2L resources as well as resources for students. If we scroll down a little further, here we can see our campus teams contacts. So if you have a question that is specific to your campus configuration of Brightspace, you can come in here, click on your campus, and you'll be able to see a campus website, a team email if there is one, and the folks on your campus that are the point people for this transition. And you can reach out to them if you have any questions.